Welcome back. You're now watching the lifestyle segment on the weekend show brought to you by Holocron Popcorn. My name is Andy Madison.
And I'm Eddie Young Frank. Happy New Year, Andy.
Happy New Year to you. The smile on your face shows that you've had a very good December and you're happy about the new year.
We're rested,
What was
actually.
the highlight of your holidays?
Having all my siblings home with my parents together. We've not done that in like 2 years, so it was really fun having a full house.
So while you're away and you abandoned me here, in the last couple of weeks, we've been obviously having conversations with people in different sectors who are doing amazing stuff for us to shed light and amplify what they're doing and also hear their projections for 2025. And so before we get into the meat of the lifestyle segment, which is on education in 2025, a question which I've asked all the guests who have come here and will be asking for the month of January is what I'm going to ask you, and it's called the 3 of 3. And so, this is to you. Tell us 3 things you want to start in 2025, 3 things you want to stop in 2025, and 3 things you are proud of yourself about in 2024. So what are 3 things you... Don't worry, it's intentional to put you on the spot. What are 3
I was about to
things
say
you
you're
want
putting me on the spot.
in 2025?
I want to be more intentional with myself.
Okay.
I want to express emotion more and not be so stoic. And the third thing I would like to start is actually pushing myself more, going for what I want more.
You know, 2 out of 3 of our last guests have said they want to stop procrastinating. So when you say you want to push yourself some more, is that a hint of it?
No, I don't
You
procrastinate,
actually
luckily.
don't.
Yeah.
So 3 things you want to stop in 2025.
Well, it still goes back to what I just said. I want to stop being unemotional.
Oh, so the things you want to start on the
Yes.
things you want to stop. Okay, 3 things that happened in 2024 that you are proud of yourself for being able to accomplish.
One was the fact that I was able to buy fuel in
What's
this
wrong with you?
economy.
Which
And with the
is a
fuel
great
prices.
fit.
I'm grateful for that. Secondly, I like where, my career trajectory is going to. I like that. So that's another thing I was really proud of. And third, appreciating the people around me. Yeah, I was very intentional with that. I had this goal of giving everyone who meant something to me a gift last year, and I accomplished that.
Now we know I don't mean anything to you.
Andy.
Welcome back, Didi. Talking about the new year, at the end of the year last year, the president presented the budget for 2025. And it's interesting to note that the budget for education was just about 7%, which is 3.52 trillion naira. Now, UNESCO has said it should be between 15 to 20% of the budget. But most people will tell you our peculiarities are different from other places. But as much as this conversation is ongoing, we need to go back to the root and the basis, which is the fact that it's a new year. What do we expect from teachers? What do we expect from children? Yes, the financial implication means that a lot of people aren't interested in going into academia anymore. A lot of people are interested in teaching at primary and secondary school level. Some Nigerian professors get about 400,000 naira a month.
Yeah.
And when you see how much other people are getting, it's not the most encouraging space. So you need to actually absolutely love what you're doing. And interestingly, we have someone who loves what she does and continues to do it. Like we say, we'll be speaking to people who are passionate about their field and are having impact in what they do. And joining us to have this conversation today, we have
Bilkis Musa, who is the CEO Teachers Recruitment Consult, actually. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. Happy New Year once again.
Happy New Year. Thank you for having me.
Happy New Year, Bilkis.
Thank you, Andy.
You are one of the first and few people I know who have a teachers recruitment agency. Listening to the ASU chairman for the Ibadan chapter talking about the fact that a lot of people are not interested in getting into academia anymore, and this at the higher institutional level. Do you see this trend going on at the primary level currently?
Absolutely. From even the early years to the primary, a lot of people are leaving education, and that's because they don't see it as something that sustains them anymore. The cost of living is high, and they have to survive. So sometimes passion doesn't keep them for so long anymore.
What is your assessment of the current state of education in Nigeria today?
So I'll start with the local. We have a lot to do in that aspect of education. If you look at education in 2025, you would see that the private schools and schools outside Nigeria have moved to a space of where we're using AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, but then our public schools in Nigeria are not there yet. They still don't even have access to computers. They don't understand how to use technologies. Teachers don't even understand what 21st century learning is about. So we still have a lot to do in that department. With the private school system, a lot of private schools have evolved. They're moving with the trend, and they're trying to move with the Western world and try to be better. However, the gap is so big that sometimes it scares us in the private sector how we're going to be able to merge both sectors together. I mean, these individuals are going to come out and exist in the same world. So people in the public sectors are going to make policies in Nigeria. So if they don't understand what it means to lead, how are they going to lead?
Interestingly, when I was much younger, some of us are now no longer youths. As bad as public school systems could be, I remember in the 90s, most of the best schools in Nigeria were government-owned.
Yes.
You had the likes of King's College, you had the likes of Mount St. Gabriel Secondary School, which I went to. You had the likes of, so the Catholic schools, the federal schools, you had great performers. And I recall in my secondary school, one of the reasons why performance was great was because we competed against ourselves. So you didn't want to be the worst amongst your mates, not necessarily because you had great teachers. And so we're still able to achieve results. But coming back to what you said about public and private schools, I have a 4-year-old nephew, and I saw him, I think it's for this year, reciting the 7 timetable from 1, and he was enjoying it 9 times. So these are odd numbers where, for me, I have to do some calculation in my head if you tell me this. And that's because when they taught us, they told us, you'll not always have a calculator in front of you, so you need to know this. Now, every device has a calculator, and the kids have tablets. It's easy, and as long as it's Naira and Kobo, we'll be able to add, subtract, and multiply. Do you think that curriculum for teaching children, generally, especially at early age, is where it is at, or should change? And I ask this question because the last time you spoke here, you spoke about Montessori and another teaching system. So tell us about those 2 different systems, and then back to my question about the curriculum which we have in schools, if it's still applicable.
Well, our curriculum is not all the way bad because, I mean, if we look at the Nigerian child who exists here, they finish through our schools in Nigeria and they go abroad and they top the system there. So if our curriculum is that bad, then we won't be succeeding. Now, so the problem is not just the curriculum. I mean, the curriculum can be better. It's the curriculum implementation. Our curriculum doesn't necessarily have a framework like other Western curriculums. So with every curriculum they build, for instance, the national curriculum of England, the American curriculum, there's a framework of how they want the teachers to deliver it. There's a teacher's resource, there's a teacher's guide. So there are a lot of resources that the teachers can use to implement the curriculum. But in our own system, we just have a curriculum out there where people just pick it up and call it Nigerian curriculum. And I would say bad teaching is not Nigerian curriculum or Nigerian style of teaching. It's just bad teaching, and we can be better with it.
So tell us, for those who don't know, about the Montessori system and the different systems which we find, especially in a lot of private schools and some public schools now.
So basically, the Montessori system is a lot. If I start talking about Montessori, I don't think we'll leave the show today. So Montessori system is a system of education that is child-centered. It looks at the individual child and works with the child based on their ability. It was founded by Maria Montessori, where she used didactic materials, which are wooden materials, to help children to learn. So in the Montessori system of education, for every lesson or for every topic that is introduced in the classroom, there's a material to go with it. There's a pattern for you to teach the lesson. So there's what she calls the 3-period lesson, what is, this is, and show me. So they use that pattern to teach. And it also helps the children to be very independent. So Montessori believes that the child should self-correct their errors. You shouldn't teach the child what to do. So for instance, if a child is working with a Montessori material, the child would naturally discover by themselves that this is wrong because of the way the materials are produced. So it won't fit into certain holes just because it's not the size. So if the child is trying to work with a knob cylinder, the child is going to discover that this knob is too small for this hole, so take it to the bigger part of it. So Montessori believes that the child should learn by themselves, build independence at an early stage. A child at 4 should be able to serve you from a glass jug and cups and all of those things. He also believes that the child should be able to go to the farm, do gardening, water, wash dishes, wash clothes, and do a lot of things themselves, lace their shoes, dress themselves up, use the potty, and clean up.
And so what's the alternative to Montessori?
I wouldn't really say there's an alternative to Montessori. I believe that every curriculum is beautiful after exploring so many curriculums. I mean, I used to be a fan of the Montessori curriculum when I first started teaching, but exploring other curriculum, I see that every curriculum is beautiful. Every, for instance, the earliest foundation stage, which is the EYFS, has its own beauty where it comes with the 7 areas of learning, talks about the personal, social, and emotional development of the child, which I think is very beautiful. The EYFS believes that a child must first be well, a child must first interact with their teacher, their environment, the place must be safe, they must be happy. It takes a happy child to learn. So I like the personal, social, and emotional development that the EYFS puts as part of their prime areas. There's also communication and language in the EYFS as well. So for me, it's not about the curriculum, it's how you deliver the curriculum. So Montessori is beautiful, the EYFS is beautiful. The American curriculum is also beautiful. So if you look at the American curriculum at the early stage of learning, there's the Mother Goose Time. There's a curriculum in America that's called the Mother Goose Time that also works with a lot of critical thinking and creativity. And we're getting past the stage where we're no longer looking at math and English. So beautiful curriculum, it's how the school is implementing it that matters.
Okay. So there's been a global shift into technology-driven education, and you mentioned AI earlier, but in private schools. How can, the government implement this also, bring in technology, introduce it into the public education system?
By collaborating, by partnering, by looking up experts who are good with these things and bring them into the system, work with them, get them to train the staff. Not just training them is one thing to train, is another thing for your staff to implement the training. So is there a follow-up? Who is doing quality control? In Nigeria, one of the things we lack is quality control. We can train and teach, but nobody follows up to see what they're doing. Outside the country, they do very well with quality control. In fact, they hire somebody who is in charge of quality control. But here, if you're head of school, your HR, your quality assurance inspector, you're wearing like 6 hats in one person. So most times it's almost impossible for you to dot all the I's and cross the T's. So our system needs to embrace these things where we make sure that we start to appreciate processes. We don't appreciate processes in Nigeria. We don't follow through with the things that we put in place. We set policies, but they're never implemented. So I think that if we hire experts or partner with experts in this department, we're going to be able to implement it and stay consistent.
I want to talk about what I call over-education or education fatigue. And so a child goes to school, say 8 a.m. till 1 p.m., has lunch, then there's a lesson teacher who comes to teach from maybe 4 o'clock to 6, and then there's homework between the 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I hated maths teachers, and they never came late. They never missed. Like, your maths teachers are always on time, and they always come. The other ones which you enjoy wouldn't come. And when I was in primary school, one of the earliest lessons I learned in social studies was socialization, and they spoke about the family, the media, the church, the school, the peer group. But it seems like a lot of that has been outsourced to the educational system because parents are out trying to make money to feed this family and pay these fees. But don't you think it's too much in some cases, and we're not letting children to be children anymore. We're just, the future is out there waiting for you. You need to learn so much and be the best because it's a tough world out there, and not letting children be children. Do you think that's a thing? And is that some type of education fatigue or education in the mix at some point?
I think that it's education fatigue. I think that parents are also putting too much pressure on their children. Let your child develop. Your neighbor's child is not the same as your child. Your child is unique. Let them learn. And also sometimes some schools will miss it because we give homeworks that are too much. There are age-appropriate homework for different group, and there are time allotted to each homework. So if your child is between the age of 4 to 5, their homework time shouldn't be more than 10 minutes. There are standards to these things, and if we follow the procedure, homework is a reinforcement of learning. It means that if I've taught you verbs today, then the homework I'm giving you is almost a replica of our class activity, just to reinforce what we've done in class. Not necessarily giving you something new, except I'm giving you a research topic. I mean, there could be flipped classroom where you want the child to research the topic before they come to school, but that varies. Not at that early stage where you're asking a 4-year-old to go and start up a research, or a 5-year-old. No, it varies and it changes with their age and as they develop.
I've heard parents complaining that their kids' homework is too hard for them.
I saw the other day that the quantitative reasoning, I don't know if you remember that it's actually to test the parents and not the child.
Exactly. I've seen parents say, oh, this was quite hard.
Yeah. So with your organization, how have you been able to add impact into the educational system here in Nigeria?
So we do a lot at Teachers Recruitment Consults. We do recruitment trainings. One of the big things that we do is trainings for schools, for staff. We do free trainings as well. We review curriculums for school. We do consulting with schools as well. So most times I have like give back, where I have teachers come into a room, bring in experts from different schools and ask, let them train the teachers really, and for free, because of the network of people we have there. The last one we did was in August, where we opened it up to private and public school teachers as well. Anybody could sign up because it was free. And then I also have this annual teachers retreat that I do in celebration of Teachers Day, just to host teachers and make them feel appreciated and let them know that we value them, we love them, we're teachers, and we're going to keep teaching for life, even if their money is not as good as we expect it to be. But I mean, it's a prestigious thing to do. It's something to do from the heart.
I want to say well done, Bill, because before I let you go, 2 questions for you. First of all, what's your projection for education in Nigeria in 2025? And then after that, we'll ask you your 3 of 3. So I'm giving you space to prepare for it. Wow, you tell us your projection for education in 2025 for Nigeria. What do you see?
What do I see in 2025? I would say for the private sectors, we're doing so much. We're moving. We're trying to evolve by the day. We're trying to be better. We're trying to be better than yesterday. I think also there's a lot of collaboration now. A lot of schools are not seeing themselves as competitors anymore. So we're looking at, okay, what did we do yesterday? How can we do it better? People are beginning to review their systems, their curriculum. They're beginning to review children's performance as well. Okay, you talked about academics being an overload for the children sometimes. So schools are beginning to listen to say, okay, we're not just looking at academics. We're looking at social. We're looking at critical thinking. We're looking at creativity. We're looking at music. We're looking at dance. So with the private system, a lot of schools are doing so much to ensure that we have children who can exist anywhere. And for the public system, like I said before, there's still a lot to be done, and education in 2025 isn't moving as much as or as fast as it should be with other countries.
So do you want to ask her 3 for 3?
Can we hear your 3 for 3?
three things you want to start in 2025, three things you want to stop, and three things you achieved that you were proud of yourself in the last year.
I'll start with three things that I achieved last year that I'm proud of. I achieved an MBA, and I'm proud of that.
Congratulations.
What else? I became closer to God. That's an achievement. I paid more attention to myself and to my health last year, and I'm very proud of that as well. Three things I want to achieve in 2025. One is I want to look at other aspects of trainings. I want to look beyond the education space. I mean, I sleep, dream, breathe, and think education, but now I want to look at other aspects of education. I want to look at customer service in general, how our businesses existing. We're looking at a lot of bad customer service being delivered, especially around us. So I want to look at training people on customer service. So I want to do things outside education this year. What's the next one? Well, just continue to be closer to God. And what's the other question?
Three things you want to stop.
I want to stop. I want to stop working too much. Yes, I work around the clock. I want to have me time this year and be intentional about me. I want to build more friendship this year. I've lost a lot of friends along the way because I've been building my career. And I want to go back and reconnect with old people, the ones I've lost along the line, and just keep it very simple.
Beokes, thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
for
you.
sharing your thoughts on education, what we can do better. I think this was very selfish of me because I needed us to reinforce the fact that children still have to be children. They should have playtime, and social is a huge part. So, like, we need more people to get into sports, into music, into arts and craft.
Yes.
I was thinking about it a couple of days ago that as much as Nigeria has so many problems, we have several spaces and sectors that unite us that we can improve on. If Nollywood is doing so great, why don't we have several film academies
Yeah.
in different states?
Yeah.
If we have great footballers across the world, Nigeria
Soccer
doesn't have
academy.
a football academy that
Academy.
you can say, this is the Nigerian Football Academy, and scouts can come here and pick from. And so there are some of the things that are right in front of us that are quick wins. But always a pleasure having a conversation with you.
Thank
Wish
you.
you all the best in 2025, and
Yeah.
we hope and pray you achieve all that you have put into the universe.
Thank you. Thank
so
you for
much.
having me.
That's the much we can take on the lifestyle segment. We'll take a quick break. When we return, social media trends and entertainment.